What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another live stream for you guys. Just to let you know, we are taking callers on this show. Link is in the community section right now, so go and click that link and come and have your say. But let's get into the headline for today, and that is Arne Slot to Spurs is off. And there's been a quote from Arne Slot, and let's read that out. It says, "I've been hearing a lot of rumours going around about the clubs, about other clubs interested in me. Although I'm thankful, but my wish is to stay at Feyenoord and to continue the work that we have created last year. There is not, and there has not been transfer conversation, and yesterday's meeting was exclusively for an extension. All talks with the club have always been only in that sense. Looking forward to next season with Feyenoord." Let's get into the journalists and what they're saying as well. Sky Sports saying that Tottenham have walked away from a deal from Arne Slot because of a disagreement over compensation. Feyenoord wanted 10 million for Slot and an extra 5 million for his backroom staff. Telegraph in Holland are reporting that Feyenoord are asking for 20 million euros for Arne Slot from Tottenham in a deal that would include the assistant coaches and performance, blah, blah, blah. That's not happening. Romano says that Arne Slot to Tottenham is off. Arne Slot reached an agreement over a contract yesterday in the meeting with Feyenoord. Slot will sign a new contract with Feyenoord very soon. Slot's decision won't change and he will not be joining Tottenham. And The Independent said that Arne Slot had concerns over Tottenham's current structure and how he would work in that system.
The PR machine is currently in overdrive right now to really gain the narrative of why Slot is not going to be joining Tottenham. Literally, as long ago as like 12 hours ago, everything seemed very positive on the Arne Slot news. It seemed as though Feyenoord were looking at replacements, or they were saying they're already lining up new managers. Slot was desperate to come to Tottenham. Apparently, Feyenoord offered him this mega contract and he turned them down, and it looked like Tottenham was nailed on. But all of a sudden, I wake up this morning and Slot's done. Slot's not happening. He's signing a new contract with Feyenoord. He's not interested in any rumours. Spurs say it's because of a compensation fee. Slot's saying it's because of Slot's camp is saying it's because of concerns over the direction of the club. I mean, I tend to believe that because that's what we're hearing from every other manager. There's surely no smoke without fire. We're hearing from Nagelsmann, concerns over the structure of the club with no sporting director, and then Spurs say, oh, actually, he was never in contention, as if that was ever true. Now Nagelsmann saying actually there's concerns over the structure of the club and no sporting director and what role he'll play, and Spurs saying actually it was the compensation fee. We really want this manager and we really think he can revolutionise the whole club and we can actually rebuild this whole club around him, but we won't pay 15 million. That's our stance, apparently. That's our public stance.
As if that was 60 million on Richarlison.
Yeah, as if that's like a acceptable position. You have apparently you've done your due diligence on a manager. Apparently you've done all the research. You've looked at his time at Holland and you've seen actually this guy can rebuild a team on a shoestring budget like he's done at Feyenoord. He plays attractive football. He can bring the Spurs DNA back. He can work with young players. He'll be happy to come. He'll make it our first choice. But we actually won't pay the 15 million. Is that, am I supposed to believe that's their public position? Am I supposed to believe that's the truth? It's, in fact, that's either absolute rubbish, which I'm sure it is, or that's an actual utterly pathetic position to hold as a top six or supposedly top six football club in the Premier League who were trying to do things the right way. Like, if you're not going to pay 15 million for a manager who you believe can bring the Spurs DNA back to the club and actually have a rebuild, build a rebuild around, if you won't pay 15 million for him, I'm supposed to believe that's your position. That's pathetic if that's the truth. They have absolute zero PR relations, this club. They don't know they have no idea what they're doing in terms of putting out the right messaging when it comes to why a deal hasn't happened. Again, as I said for the Nagelsmann news, they are taking us for absolute fools if they expect us to believe they're not prepared to pay 15 million for a manager who's their number one choice. Absolute garbage. It's garbage.
Is anyone actually surprised, like, what is going on at this football club? We've burnt so many managers now. We didn't want to engage in conversations with Pochettino. They wanted to put out there that we rejected Nagelsmann when actually Nagelsmann was the one that rejected us. How many other managers are we going to be on the verge of getting or very heavily linked to, and then they're going to come out and say and make up some excuses why we're not going to get them.
They don't want to. Yeah.
The reasons why managers don't want to come here is because we don't have any ambition at this football club. It's the facts of the matter. And this is going to happen time and time again. We're going to go and get our 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th choice, and we're going to have no future at this football club. That is exactly what is going on. How many managers now are going to turn us down? We're 10 days away. Is it 10 days away, 11 days away from that 71-day marker to beat our own record, which Daniel Levy said will not happen again because they're working so hard, or whatever the line was, to make sure that doesn't happen again. Well, we're very close to that happening right again. And not only that, but better managers are rejecting us this time than last time.
Absolutely. And we're just, I don't even think it's more of a lack of ambition. It's just it's incompetence. We don't know a strategy and a way forward in terms of competing with modern day football clubs, for how they're structured, how they're doing things with a philosophy and a plan in place, with a brand of football they want to play within the club, and getting people that will match that, with the sporting director managing, marrying that up with a manager and getting everyone in with a cohesive vision. We just don't know how to do it. We don't know what we're doing in that sense, and we're basically pissing in the wind essentially when it comes to trying to find a manager who's going to basically bring that to the club. We're interviewing managers, right, where we're telling these managers, all right, we want to do this, this, and this. But when the managers coming in, they don't know who their boss is going to be. They don't know who they're going to be working with. So obviously there's going to be major concerns. How can I commit myself to a long-term project where right out the gate, you're going to appoint someone who I don't know who you're going to appoint, like within the first few weeks or months of me coming to this club, and I don't know who that person's going to be. I don't know how I'm going to get on with that person. I don't know if we have the same shared vision or anything like that. This is what we've been saying all along when it comes to this Slot news as well. Yes, I'm happy with Arne Slot. I like the sound of him as manager, but I want him to come within a good structure so that everyone's on the same page and we're doing things in the right way. And we're not doing things in the right way right now. And managers are coming here and saying, what's your plan? What's going on? We don't have the answers. So we're just expecting them to accept that and just roll with the punches essentially, and just go with whatever we tell them. And because Tottenham's such a big club, we expect them to just kind of roll over. And say, yeah, well, I'll accept any of the terms. Even a club like Feyenoord, where you really expect he would be jumping at the chance to join Tottenham. He's looking and thinking, look, I've got a good thing going at Feyenoord. I'm doing a really good job. Like, Tottenham right now don't seem to have their house in order. Why would I jump ship and put all my eggs in this basket when they don't know what direction they're going in right now?
What did Conte say? If this club keeps going in the same direction, it doesn't even matter what manager comes in anyway. The same results is going to keep happening. We can't even get a manager through this door. Never mind getting a new manager. We are getting put to shame by Brighton. We are getting put to shame by Brighton on every level possible at the moment, yeah? Graham Potter gets poached by Chelsea. Within a week, they have Roberto De Zerbi, right? They had one manager choice that they earmarked. They went out and they went and got him. No matter what the structure is or whatever it took to got him, they went and got him. It's taken us now twice. It's going to take us over 70 days to hire a manager. It's an absolute joke. Like, how are we getting put to shame by Brighton? Look at the size of the club they are, and look at the budgets that they've got and the revenues that they bring in and everything. We're a multi-billion-pound club. Levy thinks this club is worth $6 billion or whatever it is. Like, how has it got to this stage? How are we getting put to shame by Brighton?
Lack of long-term planning, which not only have Tottenham fans been saying, but now you hear players are saying it. Højbjerg was saying, when you have 3 managers in a season, that is a consequence of lack of long-term planning. And that only comes down to the hierarchy. The hierarchy don't know what they're doing from a footballing perspective. We've said it for a very, very long time now. And now it's coming home to roost now. We're seeing managers turn us down left, right and centre. All our first choices are coming out saying that they can't see a pathway within this club. We convinced Mourinho and Conte to come here off the back of the Pochettino regime, where Spurs were on the up. We're making Champions League final. We're getting top 4 regularly. We seemed to know what we were doing in terms of progressing as a club. But we have now fallen so far behind all the other clubs in terms of how settled they are, their planning for the long term, their structure from a footballing sense, their recruitment as well, how they recruit players. We're 2023 and we're just now seeing the value in data analysis. It's like of course, managers looking at this like, what have you been doing? What's going on in this football club for a footballing operation? Do you know how to structure a football club for success, and how to know what you want? I feel like we don't know what we want as a football club in terms of moving forward. We have no idea what we want, which is leading to a difference in philosophies. All these different sporting directors that we're talking to, it's leading to different managers.
Are we even talking to any sporting directors anymore?
Well, supposedly we're supposed to. I don't know. I hope we better be, because otherwise I don't know how we could convince the manager to come here without that structure. Because I don't want a manager dealing with the hierarchy for any footballing terms. So we need that more separation between the hierarchy and the management, and the sporting director would be that, and he would know the market a lot better than the hierarchy and all that kind of different stuff. So I think this club is just an absolute mess, and now this is a consequence. It's I saw a good quote on social media the other day. This is like Daniel Levy's house of cards crumbling right now, and this is what we're seeing in front of our eyes. Every manager taking their turn to reject Tottenham. And who are we going to be left with at the end of this? Well, and we're burning bridges as well at the end.
I'll tell you exactly.
We shouldn't be. We've said this all along. We shouldn't even be approaching Nagelsmann right now. We shouldn't even be approaching Slot right now before we have everything in place to convince them to come to this club. Because all we're going to do is alienate them and give them a chance to reject us, and give a chance for Slot to sign a contract, give a chance to Nagelsmann be snapped up by another club. That's all we're doing right now by approaching them in this way, and this is what's happening.
Well, in terms of where do we go from here, let's just read you this list of names of the odds, the betting of who the favourites are to become the new Spurs manager. Just bear in mind that Arne Slot, as of last night, was heavy favourites with the bookies. I think he was like below evens even. He is now between, you can get him at, the lowest price you can get him at is like 9-1, which is quite a big price, but most bookies are doing it between 12 and 16, even going as high as 20. The favourite now to take the new Spurs job is Brendan Rodgers, followed by Ange Postecoglou, Luis Enrique, who's not going to come, Julian Nagelsmann, who's not going to come, Ruud van Nistelrooy, who's just, I think he just announced he's leaving PSV yesterday, right? He's in the running. Ruben Amorim, Julian Lopetegui, Spalletti. I mean, Spalletti's leaving Napoli at the end of the season, but I mean, none of these names really excite me that much anymore. After we've burnt Nagelsmann and after we've burnt Slot, those were my two big options who I thought that could really take this club forward. Like, did any of those names really excite you and think like, wow, we're going places?
Definitely not. They seem to be backup options, which they are. They seem to be options which are basically we have to compromise on. The last time we compromised on our manager list, we ended up sacking him after 2 months. That's what happened. So based on that, you can't get excited on Tottenham getting again rejected left, right and centre. Going to end up appointing an 8th choice, and when he doesn't have a good start, we're going to end up sacking him very quickly, and we're not going to end up, because why would you invest time? Why would you have patience for a manager that you didn't really believe in the first place? You know what I mean? If the guy is 8th or 9th choice, and then all of a sudden he has a bad run of results, there's nothing within you that's not going to stop. That's going to stop you from pulling that trigger, because you never really wanted him. You wanted other guys. So what it's going to lead to is another desperate scramble for. To
be fair, Poch wasn't our first choice either.
Poch wasn't our first choice, and but he said he felt like he nearly got sacked, but it wasn't for that Harry Kane goal. To be fair,
yeah.
He said he might have well been sacked if that goal didn't go in. So a bit of luck fell his way, and luckily he ended up turning things around.
Look, let's be honest, right? In the whole Daniel Levy tenure, every single manager has been a failure. Every single one, apart from ones where he's been super lucky. And Pochettino, he got super lucky with. That's the only one that's really been a major success here. I know Harry Redknapp did well getting into the top 4. But even him, like, he'd done the dirty with all the transfer business and stuff like that. But Pochettino, the most successful manager in Tottenham's Premier League history, was a complete stroke of luck because he wanted Louis van Gaal. And if we got Louis van Gaal, he probably would have been out the door within 6 to 18 months. So, I mean, it's time for Daniel Levy to step aside. It really is time for Daniel Levy to step aside. We can't keep going through these motions every single time. We haven't had a manager for a full season since Pochettino, since the year that we got to the Champions League final. It's an absolute joke. Like, on what basis? On what basis has Daniel Levy done a good job? And what basis does he think he's doing a good job? And on what basis does he think that he should be staying in this role? He's outstayed his welcome, and he needs to step aside now. He really needs to step aside. Keep on the business side of things. Keep with your gentrifying the Tottenham area, building your hotels, skywalks and all this kind of stuff, abseiling, go-karting, you know, stick to bringing that side of the stuff, but stay away. Stop micromanaging every facet of the footballing side because you're clearly not good at it. And it's just getting us deeper and deeper and deeper into a hole. There is no reason for you to be there anymore.
There's one thing the fans saying it, but surely he has to start waking up when managers start looking at Tottenham and turning up their nose and saying, I actually don't think you know what you're doing, really. And they keep rejecting us. Surely the penny has to drop at some point for this ownership that they have no clue how to run a football club on the footballing side. When professionals in the game are looking at them and you know, Tottenham should look. There's everything there, right? What isn't exciting about Tottenham when you think about the stadium and the training facilities and the scope to maybe win something which we haven't won in a while? You've got players like Harry Kane there. You've got there are some good players there that you could maybe work with. So what isn't exciting about that project? The one thing that is holding these managers back is how the club is run. That's the only thing. That everything is in place except for them sticking their noses in footballing business where it doesn't belong, and that is what's holding us back right now. And I think it's clear for all to see. And now, not only are fans been calling out for years, but now it's not just fans. Now the media is starting to see it a lot clearly. I'm starting to see a lot more articles about why Spurs are where they are from a footballing point of view and why they've fallen behind. And now managers are coming here and being interviewed and rejecting us out of hand because they don't see a vision and a plan at Tottenham. And when that starts happening, you can do all the PR you want. Oh, we didn't want to pay the release clause. Oh, he was never in contention. You can do all the PR you want. That's all just to save face. The reality is they don't want to come here because of you. And that is clear for all to see. And I mean, there's no getting away from that. And that surely has to the penny has to drop for them at some point. That they are the problem. They'll never admit it. Their ego is too big. Levy's ego is massive. That's why he has to win every single negotiation, because there's a massive ego. And that's probably in his way right now, thinking, I'm not the problem. I can't do anything. I'm not doing anything wrong. Look at where we were in the 90s. I'm doing a great job. But that time has passed. We're now in 2023, right? And now we have to run things in a different way. Football evolves, everything evolves, and they have not moved with the times whatsoever. The fact of case in point with the data analytics, not seeing the value in it until 2023. Like, that is a case in point. That is a great example of where they're lagging behind. And everyone can see it. It's like the emperor has no clothes. Everyone can see that he's naked and they can't see it.
Yeah.
And that's the reality.
It's the facts. That's absolute facts. It really is. But when you're looking at 6 years ago, Spurs were ahead of the curve. 6 years ago, Spurs were, fighting for titles, getting to Champions League finals. Looked like Spurs were run really well. We were probably sitting here saying how well Spurs are run. We were the envy of a lot of Premier League teams. Since then, we've let Arsenal overtake us. We've let Man United come back and overtake us. We've let Newcastle now come and overtake us. And we've even let the likes of teams like Brighton overtake us. I'm not going to put Aston Villa in that. There's still a case for that, but I'm not going to put Aston Villa in that. But when you're looking at teams like Brighton coming and overtaking us, that is when you got to draw the line. You have to draw the line. I can kind of understand Arsenal and Man United because they're massive clubs, but when you look at Brighton and what they're all about and the budgets that they have and everything like that, it's nothing short of disgusting, to be honest. And when you're looking at the Brighton board, by the way, Paul Barber, who's on the Brighton board, I'm pretty sure he was on the Spurs board with Daniel Levy.
That's another great point. There's so many great football people in hierarchies right now around the Premier League, which were at Tottenham, and we have let them go.
Why?
Because they don't want to work with this hierarchy,
Exactly.
or because we didn't realise their value. Michael Edwards, Paul Barber. There's Paul Mitchell's not in the Premier League right now, but he was another great one. There's a few others as well who are currently in high positions in other Premier League clubs and doing a great job. Yet they were at Tottenham. And they probably were maybe not doing a bad job at Tottenham, but we either didn't see the value of them or the job strained on them. They end up leaving, and it's not because they're incompetent. The only incompetent people are the ones still there. That's the reality.
Look, I think the fact of the matter is we're in this situation. We've been in this situation for a while now, and nothing is ever going to change unless Levy and Enoch dramatically change their stance on how to run this football club, or they take a step aside and let other people run this football club, the footballing side of this football club, or they just sell up and leave completely. Nothing is going to change. Those are the three options. If they don't take one of those three options and just carry on and bury their heads in the sand and thinking they're doing a great job, this is going to happen time and time again. And I won't be surprised if 71 days that record turns into 80 days, 90 days, 100 days. What are people going to say if we got 100 days without a manager? Start eating into the transfer window now.
Yeah.
You know, it's an absolute joke. Like, on top of that, you know, you've got this ginormous rebuild that you need to do at this football club from top to bottom. And they're just wasting their time, not getting their targets in.
And it's not like we haven't had the time. We knew to replace Paratici, we knew he was leaving a long time ago. They could have easily started sounding out replacements very early on and have them in place. I don't know how long it's been since he's left now, but it must be weeks at least, probably a month. Conte left at the end of March, so we've had time to sort that out as well, and we're digging our heads in the sand. So it's not like there hasn't been the opportunity. It's not like we're being unfair. The Spurs have no foresight. We just don't know what we're doing as a football club from a footballing point of view. We don't have any long-term planning. We have no foresight as to for progression planning as well. We just we tried to keep a good thing and just hang on to it as long as possible instead of planning for the future. And that's where we're at the moment. And it's the chickens are coming home to roost.
Anyway, why are you complaining anyway? Aren't you excited to do the go-karting next year?
Oh, I can't wait. Can't wait for Beyonce next week.
Beyonce next week.
Oh my God,
exactly.
Beyonce next week. Time to get excited, people.
Exactly. The big stars are coming to Tottenham Hotspur.
Exactly.
Just not on the football pitch, as Levy wanted. But look, that's our take on the Arne Slot situation. The way this club is run is an absolute joke.